All right, cool. How's it going, everybody? Micah, Lamar here. Today we're going to talk about finding some really great option strategies. And just to kind of show of hands, curious to see how many people here have heard some of my presentations before. Go ahead and let me know in the chat room. I've got the question thing up, so y'all should have that open. I really love interactive presentations, so I'll be asking a lot of questions and kind of touching base with all of you throughout the next hour. So feel free to give me a shout or a question or anything like that. Let me know. Um, I always like to start off with a really good question, and today that question is going to be, will understanding options behavior make you a better trader? And what I mean by that is by understanding how in-the-money options work differently than out-of-the-monies, and understanding how spreads behavior works differently than just a normal call and put. By understanding that, is that actually going to make you a better trader? And I think overwhelmingly most people will say yes, and we're going to kind of use that as the foundation of today, because a lot of the strategies I'm going to be teaching you today are going to be based in pure education, so that when you walk away, you're going to have some cool, not only strategies to take away with you, but you'll understand the why behind them, which I think is really important. Now, the 2 steps to finding the best option strategy is really broken down into this idea that your option strategy is really only good as your stock strategy that you're going to use for your entry and exit. So options, of course, are derivatives, right? They derive their pricing from the way the options, the way that stock moves, as well as implied volatility. But you still, before you place an options trade, you still have to have a good technical entry and exit. And largely that's for the most part based off of your stock and your technicals. So knowing that you have to have a good stock technical strategy before you even place an option strategy is part of step 1 here, choosing a great entry and exit strategy. And so today I want to first give you my 7-day strategy, and then we're going to use that to then apply to the best option strategy. Now, to find that, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find the strategy that's going to make us the most money safely and consistently with our stock strategy first. And now safely means that we don't have to risk very much to do it. Consistently means it's something that we're going to be able to use every single month. So the way that we basically have done this, and the way that we found our 7-day strategy, is by first testing the most popular indicators. We just wanted to see which ones work the best. So we used Wall Street AO. We plugged in the most popular indicators that a lot of people are using right now, and we've got some really cool stats here for you. What came in 3rd place was the stochastic, 2nd place was the MACD, and number 1, 1st place was the payday cycle strategy using a really cool chart called the Heikin-Ashi chart. I'll teach you how that works here in a moment. Now, stochastics is a cool strategy, basically using a stochastic crossover. Some of the big advantages of the stochastic is that it's very frequent. You're getting, as you can see by the strategy card, about 47 trades a year off a stochastic cross just on Apple, and that's just one stock. So if you like really active trading, you're going to be trading about once a week with that. Now, one of the disadvantages, though, with the stochastic is that sometimes you miss out on the second half of the move because it gets you out too early. The average duration of a stochastic strategy is only about 3 or 4 days. Okay, compare that to MACD, which actually has more profitability, right? Better batting average, better risk reward. But look, you're only going to get about 9 trades out of the year. Compare that to a stochastic with 47 trades a year, right? So these MACD trades are going to last a lot longer. They're going to be almost a month long for each of them. Now, one ratchet up for the winner here is the payday cycle strategy. I'm going to spend the most detail on that today. Good batting average, good risk reward, and what I love about the payday cycle strategy is not only it's the best one, the most profitable one, the simplest one, but I also like the frequency. If you're looking for a strategy that you could use 2 or 3 times a month, this is going to be perfect for you. You can see here from our strategy card, from our back-tested results here, it happens about 31 times a year. So the winner is the payday cycle strategy. We're going to use this as our entry and exit point, and then we're going to apply the correct option strategy to it, okay? So the payday cycle strategy uses a very, very simple chart called the Heikin-Ashi chart. How many people here, just show of hands, know about the Heikin-Ashi chart? Let me know. Everybody, yes, 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 yes. Okay, cool. So a couple of the key differences here, right? Your candlestick chart can be a little choppy, a little harder to read. A lot of times the cycles are not as clear, and that can make it a little harder to trade from. The Heikin-Ashi chart is smoother, it's easier to see and read the trends, the cycles are really clear, and I think that makes it really easy and smooth to trade from. Okay, so I'm going to pull up Wall Street AO right now. This is the charting platform we're using for all of our back testing for stock and options today. Now, what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to go ahead and just flip back and forth from a candlestick to your Heikin-Ashi chart. And so while I'm doing this, kind of have a visual moment here, and go ahead and let me know in the chat, what are the key differences that you see right away from these 2 types of charts? And you can go ahead and let me know in the chat room. I'll kind of shout out what everybody's saying. So here's your Heiken Ashi. Here's your candlestick. I'm flipping back and forth. We've got this cool shortcut tool where I can basically just click C on my keyboard for candlestick, H for Heiken Ashi. And let's see what everybody's saying. Alex, what's up, Alex? He says there's no gaps. Sully says there's also no gaps. Got you, Neil, here. We've also got a few people saying, Michael says it's less noisy. I agree with that. The trend is a lot more clear. You can see the pivots a lot more clear. There's less noise, which is really important. How do they differ from Renko charts? A little bit different formula there. Donna says the stock movement is more visible. I like that. The stock movement is more visible. And I think one of the big takeaways for me is that you can see the pivots a lot more clear, right? You can see the pivots a lot more clearly. Let's see what everyone else is saying. Okay, so less noise, no gaps. Easier to see the cycles. All right, so we're all on the same page. The Heiken Ashi chart just makes it a lot easier to see the stock's natural direction and cycles. Most of your charting applications out there, you know, your Thinkorswims and everything, will have a Heiken Ashi chart. It's spelled Heikinashi. Now, Wall Street AO, the platform we're on right now, is the only one that's going to allow you to backtest it, but most of your platforms will have it. It is a good idea to backtest it. That's part of what we're doing today. Okay, so there's your basic Heiken Ashi chart. Now, in order to backtest this, we're simply going to click on the backtest tab. We're going to load up the payday cycle strategy, which uses the Heiken Ashi, and we're simply going to get the results over here. The strategy there to backtest this is as simple as clicking on payday cycle and checking out the stats. You can see it's pretty much instant results here for you to check out, which is pretty cool. Now, the rules for this, let me give you the rules. The rules for buying and selling using Heiken Ashi is really uberly simple. The buy rule is on the first green Heiken Ashi, you're going to buy at the close. This is a daily candlestick, okay? The sell rule is on the first red Heiken Ashi, you're going to sell at the close of the day. So it can't get any simpler than that. Buying on the first green at the close, selling on the first red at the close, okay? And so we can see right away that this strategy has performed really, really well. In the simplest form, it's a profitable strategy. It's got a good risk reward. It's got a good average gain versus average loss. Let me give you those stats right now. Average gain is 2.8%. Average loss is 1.4%. So pretty good average gain to average loss, which generates a good risk reward here. Okay. Now, a couple advantages to this strategy is that it takes advantage of naturally occurring cycles that are already happening in a stock anyways. So as many stocks move, they form cycles. The Heiken Ashi chart is a great way to visually see the cycles. The payday cycle strategy is the strategy that uses the Heiken Ashi chart. It gives clear buy and sell signals based on the color of the chart. It's the best day-to-day directional and momentum gauge, better than most lagging indicators. Not only is it the simpler one, but it's also the most profitable one, and this is what makes it the #1 strategy. Okay. Now, there's a disadvantage, and the disadvantage, just in full transparency, is occasionally you can get false starts during counter trend setups. So this sentence here kind of is two parts. You could have false starts, so I'll define what that is in a moment, during a counter trend setup. So let's talk about that for a moment, and I'm going to see if there's any questions for me so far. I love this. Patricia says, the Heiken Ashi chart feels like I just put on my glasses. I love that. That's actually the best one so far. All right. So Kevin asks about seeing gaps. Yeah, so as you can see, I can flip back and forth from a candlestick to a Heiken Ashi. So I'm not saying that you're going to use Heiken Ashi and never look at a candlestick. You can see in half a second I can go back and forth, right? So I recommend using both, but we're going to use the Heiken Ashi actually for the entry and exit, okay? To tell us, hey, when should we be getting in? When should we be getting out? All right, cool stuff. So let's talk about this disadvantage here for a moment. Now, as we can see, the payday cycle strategy has a good risk reward, good batting average. It's a super profitable strategy on its own. And again, it's as simple as buying at the close of the first green, selling at the close of the first red. Now, occasionally, you're going to get these things called false starts. So what are false starts? First, let's talk about that. False starts is where you have a pullback. You have your first green bar here on the daily candle, on the daily Heiken Ashi. You have your first green one, but there doesn't show any follow through. You can see this actually happened twice right there. Both of these trades would have resulted in losers, which is always a bummer. You don't want to take losers, right? So part of developing a good technical strategy for knowing when to get in and out is how do we cut out losing trades so that we take more good trades and less bad trades? And that overall will pump up your profitability, batting average, risk reward, and also when you're trading options is going to help you leverage that options account. So here are some other false starts. You can see those in here. Okay. So what's cool is even with these false starts, the strategy by itself, even if you had taken these, is actually incredibly profitable. Part of that is because the duration, right? The average gain is almost 3%, where the average loss is half that. The frequency is that the wins last about 7 days and the losses only last a couple days. So if it doesn't work out, you're out really fast. But if it does work out, you're in it and you're riding it for a long time. And because of that, you have larger winners and smaller losses. Now, we can improve this even more by eliminating these times where we're likely to get false starts. And again, if you think about what that sentence was, it said you can have false starts during counter trend setups. Counter trend. So a counter trend setup would be if the stock's in a downtrend, right? And you try and get long. That's a counter trend. Vice versa would be stocks in an uptrend and you're trying to get short. Naturally, those are going to have lower probabilities of success. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and go over here to the backtester, which again reads with the Heikin-Ashi chart, buy on the first green bar, sell on the first red one, pretty simple. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this idea of probability stacking. Wall Street AO's backtester here is really cool. It allows for probability stacking where we could actually add multiple indicators to a strategy to actually boost up returns and get a better strategy and hopefully a safer one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop using this cool drag and drop editor. I'm going to drag and drop a 21-day moving average in here. Okay, now this is going to make the strategy a little bit safer, but I'm also going to do another thing here. Now, in most strategies, when you're developing one, you have three parts to it. You have an entry, you have a target, and you have a stop. And right now, all we have is an entry and a stop. We don't have a target. So when we looked at this first strategy, the results here showed us that this strategy lasts on average 7 days. So we're actually going to add a profit target here. And why not take profits on day 7 if we know on average they last that long? So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And so here's how the strategy reads now. We want to buy on the first green candle, but only when it's above the 21-day moving average. I'll explain that in a moment. We're going to sell if we get a red one, or we're going to sell if it goes up for 7 days in a row. Now what we've done over here, you can see by the results, we've boosted profitability, we've improved our risk reward, we've improved our batting average, we're taking slightly less trades per out through the year, but we've eliminated a tremendous amount of the losing trades. And so we have this natural probability that's increased now because we've cut out those losing trades, and now we're more likely to take the strategy when we actually have a really, really good technical strategy based on this idea of probability stacking. Okay, now we use the 21-day moving average because when the stock's below it, it's likely in a downtrend. When it's above it, it's likely in an uptrend. So we're only going to be taking this bull strategy when the stock is above the 21-day moving average. And you can see it's been absolutely like crazy good these last few months. The stock has been accelerating like crazy. I've got some cool case studies I'm going to show you in a few minutes about all the dough that can be made during these kinds of times, but super profitable. The other cool part that I really love about this strategy is you've got an entry, you've got a stop, you've got a target. You've got all three components. You've got great batting average, great risk reward, everything like that. But check this out. This strategy has been profitable every single year for the last 10 years. Every year for the last 10 years. And what's interesting about that is if you've been trading Apple for a long time, you know that there's been twice now, 3 times actually now, that the stock has dropped over 35%. And this would actually technically be considered a crash, right? So over the last 10 years, we've had 3 crashes. And even during those years, this strategy was profitable. So as we look at the stock, crazy extended to the upside, don't you want a strategy that's going to protect you if we have another big crash? It'll keep you out of the trade or potentially give you an opportunity to get short. Okay, pretty cool stuff. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to kind of open this up to a few questions. Let me kind of get rid of these boxes here that I just drew for everybody. And I'll quickly open this up for questions. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to talk about how do we apply the correct option strategy to this? Because what we have now, right, we've got a really great technical strategy. This is going to provide us entry and exit points. Because we still need, if we're trading options, we still need to know, like, well, when exactly do we buy and when do we sell? We're not just going to blindly buy options, like based on, you know, a feeling or an emotion or just randomly throughout the week, right? We still need a good entry and exit point. And I think we could all agree that to be a great options trader, first, before you even place the option trade, you need to have a good technical strategy behind it that acts as a foundation for it. So let's see what kind of questions we got so far. Henry says, what's the stop? The stop, let me show you here, right? We're going to buy on the first green one at the close of the day, but only when the stock's above the 21 day. We're going to sell on the first red one. That's your stop, right? Or we're going to sell if it goes up 7 days in a row. Henry, you got that? Question, what's the software we're using? We're using Wall Street IO. It's the best stock and options backtester, hands down. It's the fastest one. I'm going to be kind of demoing it today for you. Okay. Show your settings again. Here they are right now. And this is for Apple, please. Okay. Gotcha. Cool, cool, cool. Everybody says cool. All right. So a bunch of people just asked me, what software are we on? Right. So check this out. This is Wall Street AO. Everybody got this strategy down? As Jeanette said, I'm like an open book. I'm just handing you over $1 million strategy here, right? This strategy is amazing. It's been profitable for 10 years in a row with Apple every single year. And you can actually see it's become more profitable over time. It's actually becoming more profitable. And whether you're a stock trader or an options trader, this strategy will work for you. We actually have a lot of students who just trade stock, and they're crushing it. They're making 6 figures a year just trading stock with this, with a few stocks. And then we options traders obviously can make more because, you know, the leverage is there. Now, what's cool about this platform is right now we're back testing Heikin-Ashi and moving average, right? But if you want to back test, let's say the MACD, you just click on MACD, right? Loads it right up for you. You want to back test RSI, boom, RSI. You want to back test stochastic, boom, there's stochastic. You want to combine things like, you know, maybe you want to buy during a certain moving average cross, also win the MACD. You can use what's called probability stack, and you can stack it all up. This platform gives you a beautiful drag and drop builder to backtest stuff. And if you notice, when I change any one of these, right, when I change it, you can see within 1 second, all the results are up to date for you instantly, which is cool. We're basically the fastest backtester in the world. We're really proud of that. All right, everybody up to speed with the strategy? All right, cool. Success in this strategy has been amazing. The results were right there for you to check out. All right, a couple stats, some things that are important to know. Now, these stats here are not including the extra things like moving average and the extra sell signal, but what you can normally expect is the average gain to be about twice as long as the average loss. You could also expect these strategies to last about 7 days on average. Now, in many cases, especially recently when we have a big breakout, the strategy can actually last over 10 days. And those are the times where you make the hugest, largest gains throughout the year. We'll kind of highlight those in a moment, okay? But a couple things to know. Most payday cycles, right? And again, what a payday cycle is quite simply these cycles, right? There's a bullish payday cycle, bullish payday cycle, bullish payday cycle, bearish payday cycle. Payday cycle is simply the strategy that uses a Heikin-Ashi chart. Most of these payday cycles for a lot of stocks last about 7 days on average. For Apple, it's the same, okay? Now, we actually ran this test on SPY, Qs, and Apple, and guess what? SPY, Q, and Apple all have payday cycles on average over the last 3 years that last 7 days. This should actually tell you a ton about the natural rhythm and cycles of the market just on its own. Pretty cool stuff, right? SPY, 7-day average, Q, 7-day average, Apple, 7-day average. Now, I'm going to show you some other stocks here in a minute that have great payday cycles, but this again should tell you a tremendous amount about the natural cycles of the market are on a 7-day cycle period, okay? So the Qs, by the way, the Qs are really great for trading payday cycles. They've got a good risk reward, a good batting average, and they happen about 34 times a year. So if you're looking for a good consistent strategy, the Qs are great for this. Now, what I love about them is, did you notice on Apple I added a moving average, I added an extra sell signal, I added a target, things like that? With the Qs, the payday cycle strategy right out of the gate, which is as simple as buying on the first green, selling on the first red, this strategy is actually profitable right out of the gate, and it's been profitable every year for the last 10 years, even when the Qs have had some crazy compression and consolidation, even some really big pullbacks. This has still turned out to be a profitable strategy during those years. Okay, and I highlight that because in a lot of cases we add a few components to our strategy using probability stacking, but the Qs again right out of the gate, profitable every year for 10 years in a row. Okay, couple quick things to highlight. Again, every year for 10 years, we have a couple other things like win length, 7 days, biggest win, 8%, average gain, a whole percent over the average loss, pretty exciting stuff. So a lot of people have asked me, what are the best stocks to use for these payday cycles? So I got a couple I'm going to highlight here for you. What defines a cycle, Jake asks real quick. Good question. A cycle is as simple as when does the first green bar start and when does the first red one start? So you could have really, really short, choppy ones that turn into false starts, right? And then you have full cycles, right? Good question. Good question, Jake. All right, so what are the best stocks to use? Let's take a look at a few. I really like NVIDIA. NVIDIA has actually been doing really, really well this year. NVIDIA has great payday cycles. Let's just take a quick peek at that right now. NVIDIA, bada bing, bada boom. You can see I've got all my technicals drawn on this. Actually, which is kind of cool, we've been highlighting NVIDIA for a while based on all the bullish payday cycles with a target just under 225 after it blew through 200. And so this stock's actually been doing pretty good for payday cycles. I like NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA tends to perform well in the standard technical terms of when it's in an uptrend, bullish payday cycles are great. When it's not in an uptrend and it's in a downtrend, don't mess with the bullish payday cycles. Either stay out or get short, okay? But bullish payday cycles in a bullish trend in NVIDIA work out beautifully, okay? Netflix also has great payday cycles. It's got a higher beta, so you're going to get more movement, right? But the risk reward is higher than normal at 2.5. The batting average is a little bit lower, but the risk reward makes up for it, okay? And you're still going to get about 33 trades per year. The Qs, again, we already highlighted the Qs. The Qs are a fantastic payday cycle strategy. Peter says, can one scan for good setups? Yeah, we've got a scanner. I could show you that in a moment. Jake asks, so what are the entry rules? I thought I covered that. Let me kind of walk you through it real quick. It should be pretty simple. If it wasn't, I apologize. Let me go ahead and give it to you again for anybody who might have missed it. Try not to make things too complicated here for you. Right. Here are the entry rules. If the stock, right, this is for Apple specific, by the way, if it's above the 21-day moving average, the first time we get a green bar, you buy it at the close that day. Don't wait for the next day. If you get a first red bar, sell it. If you get your 7th green bar in a row, sell it for profits. And I actually trade options in big lots, right? In big lots. So what that means, if I buy 20 contracts, I'm likely going to sell 5 of them on day 7, right? Check this out, actually, 5 on day 7. Watch these results change over here. I'm going to switch this to day 8. I'll sell 5 on day 7, 5 on day 8, and maybe the rest if it goes up 9 days. All of those are right around the same results over here. You can see day 8 kind of spiked up a little bit. But look, if you start waiting too long on day 10, the results really suffer. Look at that drop. And if you start selling too early, like on day 5 or 6, the results suffer. You're not giving yourself enough time. So day 7, 8, 9 is kind of the sweet spot to sell and take profits on your payday cycle trades. Okay, and again, I'm usually a fan of buying in averages and getting out in averages so that you're not always all in or all out, especially now that you can trade options for free on Robinhood. There's no commissions whatsoever. You could be buying in lots, right? And you could be buying in groups. You don't have to be all in or all out. So that's kind of how I like to do it. Does that make sense, Jake? Is that pretty clear on the entry rules? I mean, they're right here. You could read them if you'd like. Any questions about that? Everybody good? Sweet. And it should be pretty clear. All right, cool. So options backtesting, beta now released. So what does that mean? We've been secretly working on a really big project this year that we're really excited about. And there's a couple options backtesters out there. We believe that we actually just leapfrogged all of them with our tool. Because as I mentioned earlier, options strategies and options trading can't just be placed. Like, I don't personally know anybody who's always just long calls. Like, they buy 30 days out, and when they expire, they just buy more. Like, nobody actually trades that way. They use some kind of technical gauge to say, hey, this is a good time to buy calls, and this is a good time to sell them, or this is a good time to sell puts, or this is a good time to use a spread. Technically, it's hitting support, it's above the Ikimuchi cloud, it's got a bullish payday cycle, it's above a moving average. There needs to be some technical entry point and exit point. What I've just given you, right, is the best one for Apple. Okay, the best one that I found in over a decade of being an Apple specialist. Okay, we're going to use this strategy to now define the best option one to use using our options backtester, which we're proud to say has just been released to beta. So as I showed you, the Wall Street AO condition backtester, where you can test stochastics, RSI, payday cycle, moving average crosses, MACD, moving average, ADX-DMI across 8,000 tickers and ETFs across daily time frame for 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, 10 years. In this beautiful drag and drop editor, what we've done is we've rebuilt in the same beautiful editor a way for you to now backtest options. And just to give you some scope of this project, when you backtest stocks, right, we've got about 100 million endpoints in our database that are instantly fetchable for instant backtesting. That's why when I change this 21-day moving average to a 30-day moving average, you can see it updates this in 1 second. It's instant backtesting, right? With options, you don't just need to store all the options data like stocks, right? Stock, for every day, you're only storing the closing price, right? For options, for every day, you need to store, in our databases, we're storing, for every day, we store all the expirations available for that day. For every expiration, all the strike prices. For every strike price, whether it's a call or put, and whether it's and the bid and the ask. For options, instead of 100 million endpoints being stored in our databases for backtesting, we have 2 billion endpoints. 2 billion endpoints. And for any computer scientists or people programming out there, building a reactive backtester where you could load this up and in 1 second have backtesting across all these endpoints is actually a massive feat. When we were talking with the SIBO, where we get our options data from, they're like, yeah, people come to us all the time, want to build a backtester, but they just can't figure out how to do it. We've got an amazing engineering team, and we've just built the first perfectly reactive backtester that backtest option strategies in a drag and drop format. And the most important thing is it doesn't just say buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell. It backtests the option strategy against your technical strategy, which is here, right? So we're now saying, how well would we have done if we would have traded these calls every time our technical strategy triggered, right? So we're using our technical strategy again for the buy and selling of these options. And again, as I change these, you can see how fast it is. It's perfectly reactive. In 1 second, it retests everything. How cool is that? Pretty darn cool, right? So in this strategy backtester, what we can do is we can adjust how many contracts we're buying, whether we're buying it to open or selling to open, whether we're trading calls or puts, out of the money, at the money, or in the money by X amount of strike prices, and 30 days to expiration is what's default, but you can change this to 5 days, 20 days, 90 days, whatever you want. And so I built an insanely awesome, complicated configuration matrix that I handed over to our engineering team, because I'm a derivatives trader, by the way, for the last 10 years. So I built this huge configuration matrix that has all this really advanced routing. So for the member, they have this really, really simple user interface, but there is so much stuff happening behind the scenes in our database to make this happen. Now, alternatively, instead of using just straight calls, you can do vertical spreads, calendars, diagonals, butterflies, and test iron condors, all in a simple format that does it automatically for you, okay? So I already ran a bunch of tests, and this is some cool things that we came up with for you, okay? So the question again, as I mentioned, I like starting everything with a really great question is, how does the strike price and expiration impact your profitability, your batting average, your risk reward, and your largest win? So we're going to answer those questions right now for you. Make sure there's no questions in the chat. Ooh, we got about 5 or 6 questions. Just hang tight, everybody, okay? We got just a few more slides. And so what I did was I took my really amazing profitable Apple strategy with payday cycles and the 21-day moving average, and I tested days till expiration. This was the first test. I said, how do days till expiration impact, right? So I tested 14 days, 30 days, 45 days, and 60 days. And we just started with one strike out of the money, okay? So as you did closer in time, right, your batting average went down a lot. As you went out in time, your batting average went up, right? And this is, for any option trader, this seems obvious, right? If you don't buy enough time, your batting average could go down because theta works against you, okay? However, as you went farther out in time, the risk reward started to depreciate a little bit, right? Also, the largest win dropped a ton, right? So going 60 days out actually really crippled your largest win. Now, why 228 may seem like a lot, these numbers are insanely better, obviously, okay? So guess which one was the most profitable one over time? Can everybody guess? What do you think? Dave says, way cool, by the way. Kevin says, what platform do you have on this, and can you do it on TOS? No, this is Wall Street AO. We're like, I don't want to say we're way more advanced than Thinkorswim, but our back testing is the best in the world, and Thinkorswim can't even come close to the back testing we're doing. So we're on Wall Street AO, and you cannot do this in Thinkorswim. Scott says contracts. Not sure what that means. Every stock have a different payday cycle. Every stock is going to have different stats for the payday cycle. Scott says, does Robinhood charge for contracts? No. Robinhood does not charge for options at all. Okay, cool. 30 days. Alex, have you seen my presentation before? All right, so 30 days was actually the winner for most profitability. Which one had the lowest average loss? Actually down here at 60 days, but still, the most profitable one was actually 30 days out. So here was the next inquiry we ran. How does your strike price now impact your trade stats? So again, the reason, this is important. The reason we built these tools was to educate, because we wanted to show people really quickly how adjusting your strike price and adjusting your expiration impacts your trade results. Because a lot of people say, oh, well, you have to trade in the money options, or you have to trade out of the money options. Like, it's all baloney until you actually go and test it, right? So what we did is we built this tool to educate, right? The information educates. And so with that in mind, the first thing that we ran was expiration dates. And it turned out for these payday cycles for Apple and the 21-day moving average strategy I gave you, 30 days out worked the best. Then we took that 30-day out option and we said, okay, if you go 30 days out, well, now should we be buying in the money, at the money, or out of the money options? It turned out in the money options had a higher batting average. Out of the money options, as you can see, went down in batting average, but the risk reward was insanely good for out of the money. And you can see the largest win was insanely good for out of the money. This is because of the way options behave with delta and everything like that, right? And again, average loss was actually still pretty good. So the winner chicken dinner here for your Apple payday cycle strategy, which I gave you, and I'm actually just going to tell you what the best option one was too. Like Jeanette said, I'm going to give you the strategy, was one strike out of the money 30 days out. While the batting average was a little bit lower, the risk reward was so good and the largest win was so good and the average loss was so low that in the end actually turned out to be the most profitable strategy. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. The other thing that is really clear here, extra clear, is if you buy too much time or you use in the money options, you're at a massive disadvantage. And I know a lot of people say, oh, we'll buy in the money. Well, it turns out for this strategy, buying one strike out of the money actually is better. Over time, it gives you better returns. And so if you're buying in the money and you're buying too much time, you're at a disadvantage in two ways. You're like double disadvantaging yourself. I don't know if that's even a way to say it, but y'all know what I mean. Okay. So again, part of the reason we built the tools that we have is to educate people so that when someone's like, oh, well, I just read an XYZ forum that you should always use a 70 delta, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? That's not always the case. We just back tested it and here are the results to prove it. Okay. But you have to have the tools to look at the data and then use the data, be like, wow, now you can educate yourself as if to understand what the most profitable one is and also what to stay away from. Okay. Pretty cool stuff, right? Let's see if we got any questions. See if we got any questions. There's a lot of cool things that you can do with this, right? Not only can you answer the question, or should I use in the money or out of the money or at the money. Should I buy 10 days or 20 days or 30 days or 60 days or 90 days? You could also do something like this, like, well, I really like this Apple strategy, right? Well, what happens if I buy calls, right? But what happens if I sell puts to cover the calls, right? You could actually stack these up where now I'm buying to open calls and selling to open puts to pay for the calls. Well, what happens if I want to do this? I want to buy maybe a vertical spread, an out of the money bull call spread. But to pay for that, whoops, let's start here. To pay for that, I want to short a put spread. So now what I'm testing, and you can see it all stacks up here, buying to open an out of the money bull call spread and using a bull put spread to fund it. You could actually test that in full probability here with full stacking. I don't know of any other options backtest in the world that can do this. More importantly, one that can do this across a whole variety of infinite, actual conditions here. It's really, really cool. Not only that, but when you load this up and change anything, you have instant results. And did I mention you can follow these strategies to save them for later and get notifications for when they start and stop? Pretty bad. Pretty awesome. All right. Les, that is what batting average means. All 30 days. You got it. Wall Street AO, Jake says, what is Wall Street AO? Brokerage software, what is it? So Wall Street AO is a research and analysis platform. We're not a broker, so you're still going to use your own broker. We are at this moment, we are the #1 fastest stock and option backtester in the world. Like there's no other backtester with instant reactive results like what we're doing here. We're really, really proud of it. And options backtesting is in beta. We've got a few cool features that we're releasing over the next few weeks, like advanced exit conditions. So instead of just saying, just sell this option when these conditions are met with the payday cycle, we'll be adding conditions like sell when the option hits 100% profitability or 20% loss or something like that. We're adding advanced exit conditions. And once those advanced conditions are up, we'll be moving out of beta, which is pretty cool. Scott says, thanks, this might be the holy grail. I love you, Scott. You got it, man. You get it. That's so cool. Dave says, way cool. All right. Andrew says, awesome backtester. I love it. Thanks, man. Do you enter and close options based on entry and exit of the stock as shown in the platform? Yeah, kind of the idea here is that the options test, right, buying and selling the options, your entry and exit is based on this technical strategy. That's why in the beginning I said your option strategy is only as good as the stock strategy that you use to get in and out, right? And the stock strategy that I gave you has been profitable every year for 10 years and is becoming more profitable. And so we're going to use that for the options one, just for this test. Like this is only 1% of what this platform can do, by the way. I'm just showing you a simple but crazy profitable example. Spell the name of the software. I'm going to give you a link here in a moment. I think if I missed your questions, I apologize. In January, we'll likely be moving out of beta. Pretty cool stuff, right? So by the way, the fact that we just became the fastest stock and options backtester in the world, I don't know if you ever used Thinkorswim for backtesting, but you have to go back. Here's the way that works, by the way, to backtest on Thinkorswim. You have to go on demand. You have to enter the date that you want to look at. You've got to go into the option chain, make a note of it or buy it, right, on virtual. You got to go to the next date, do it again. Can you imagine doing that for 100 endpoints? It's going to take you 4 hours. And it buffers for 20 seconds in between doing anything. Like it's nowhere close to being reactive like what we've built, right? And we're so excited about this right now. We're so excited about the future of Wall Street AO. And by the way, we actually started out as a social network. So Wall Street AO at its core is a social network, right? Where we have a whole forum where people post. We were a social forum for stock traders before we had all these tools. And a lot of people started coming to us and saying, hey, does it work if we buy when the 8 EMA crosses the 21 or when the MACD crosses, or does it work when the stochastic blah, blah, blah? And we say, I don't know. And so we back tested by hand. It was a huge pain, but we did it. And then we're like, hey, maybe we could build a back tester. And this was years ago. And in the process, we started building these tools to help our community, help validate trades. That was the kind of mission. We wanted to validate ideas. And in the process, expanded our engineering team. Now we have, again, the fastest stock and options backtester. But it was all based on our community and the asks of our community to help empower them. And our community right now is rooting for us. Like, they're so proud of what we're doing, and they're so excited about the future of what we're building. So here's what's possible when you use the payday cycle method just as a stock trader. This is Lisa, stay-at-home mom from California. Her goal was she wanted to make more money working from home part-time. Her problem, though, is she didn't really have a lot of knowledge of technical analysis, and entries and exits, of course, were challenging because of that. By creating a routine with the payday cycle method and the MACD, which is what she likes, she had an amazing 86% success rate her first year. Her first year, we helped her grow her account just with stock from 100 grand to 320 grand. Lisa says, before entering a trade, I always refer to my payday cycle charts inside of Wall Street AO. Lisa actually came to our Wall Street AO conference in person and did a really, really cool panel presentation for everybody about how she uses payday cycles. Here's what's possible when you use it as an options trader. Here's Marco. He was a break-even trader from California. He wanted more consistency in his trading. His problem was his account was flat. For many years in a row, he's basically trading water. He'd make money and then he'd lose it. He was super generous. He sent me a screenshot of his account. You can see he'd lose 10 grand, make it back, lose it, make it back. This red arrow highlights when he started applying the payday cycle method to his trading. He had a massive breakout in his profitability curve. In fact, here's what happened when he started and switched to the payday cycle method. He made over 120 grand in just 2 weeks trading Apple and Baba. He created more consistency in his trading. He finally had a profitability positive curve in his trading. He went on to have a 6-figure trading year just trading Amazon, another 6-figure just trading Tesla. And this moves us to this idea of being a specialist. For a lot of people in our community, they go from having 100 stocks on their watch list to having 3 to 5 stocks on their watch list. From being completely overwhelmed and over trading and guessing and doing all these random strategies to having a consistent strategy that they can milk over and over and over again with only a few stocks that just keep working, right? Less screen time, more profitability. Here's a cool email I got just a couple of weeks ago. Hey, Mike, I want to thank you for the great advice and tools. Here's what I did with Apple. He purchased 20 calls on October 17th, sold them on the 29th. He made $16,700 in profit. Very, very happy. He's up 40 grand this year just trading Apple. Specialist, right? 40 grand trading one stock. Let's look at these dates, by the way, the 17th and the 29th. What was he using, do you think? He was using the exact strategy that I just gave you. Like, I'm literally just handed you over a potentially $1 million strategy. Let's take a look at this. The 17th and the 29th. Here's the 17th. Surprise, surprise. The first bullish payday cycle above the 21-day, sold on the 29th, right at the top. This little move may look little. This guy made 16 grand in this 10-day period, right? And he just sent me this email because he's stoked about it, right? Pretty cool stuff, right? So I didn't get a chance to officially introduce myself. Let me do that real quick. Here's kind of a goofy picture. Sometimes I'm kind of a goofball, but I still am a derivatives trader and run the fastest backtesting platform in the world. Anyways, this is my daughter, Jules. She's got a twin brother, Calvin. My partner, she has a physics degree, so we thought Jules and Kelvin were clever names for our twins. I used to struggle trading, that's the truth, right? Until I discovered the payday cycle method. And now the 4 cornerstones of my trading are this. I use defined buy and sell rules. No more guessing, right? I'm a specialist, not a generalist. I only trade a handful of stocks. I don't need 1,000 stocks to trade. And here's a really, really important clue for this. Before we were Wall Street AO, we were called Apple Trader, and we grew Apple Trader into the largest community of Apple traders in the world. And because I was the CEO of that company, as I am now with Wall Street AO, I got to meet a lot of really smart people like billionaire hedge fund managers, floor traders, specialists, all these people. And I'd ask my friend who was a specialist or a floor trader, and I'd say, hey, what are you trading? He's like, oh, I'm trading corn. Like, wait, what did you trade last week? Oh, I traded corn last week. Wait, what are you trading next week? Probably corn. What did you trade last year? I'm trading corn last year. Like, oh my gosh, you're a specialist with corn. And for the most part, a lot of these professional traders are specialists. They only trade a few stocks. What they don't do, they certainly don't have 100 stocks on a watch list, and they don't spend all day flicking through those 100 stocks with 20 or more open positions, trying to manage and delta hedge and do all these things. That's not what they do. They only trade a few things, and they're really, really good at those things. Less time, again, on the screen, more profitability, less likely to be caught off guard. You're not going to trade something you don't know. And you start to develop this natural rhythm with a stock because you're looking at the same thing every day. Huge breakthrough. Most of our members have the biggest breakthrough, by the way, in this. Trade by the numbers, know your stats. Use payday cycles as the foundation of your swing trading because they're already happening anyways. Here's a cool house I'm building for my family in Montecito, looking over the harbor. I get flown around the country now to teach this. This is me in Phoenix. I get to meet all these cool people. This is me in Chicago. Tom Sosnoff started Thinkorswim, sold it for like 600 mil. Now he's got Tasty Trade, Tasty Works. Nice guy. I've been lucky enough to meet all these great people, and now I have the opportunity to help other people. So here's how I can help you. Said another way, here's how Wall Street AO can help you, because at this point, Wall Street AO is way bigger than I ever could have imagined, and I'm so happy of what we've been able to do for our community here. Here's the Wall Street AO platform, right? We're the world's first one-click drag-and-drop backtesting platform for stock and option traders. Our platform is $197 a month for everything that I showed you today. It's actually a remarkable deal because if you think of what a lot of these fund managers and big enterprise people are paying thousands of dollars for this kind of technology, we've made it available for under $200 a month, which is really exciting. But here's what's even more exciting. We'd like to give you the special opportunity to get actually grandfathered into the Wall Street AO platform with a $100 off coupon, and here's what that means. Between now and Sunday, just for the next few days, you can get the entire Wall Street AO platform for only $97 a month, right, with a $100 off coupon. The cool news for you is the discount for $100 off is going to stay with you for the life of your membership. And I'm going to go ahead and post a link because I know there's a million people in here asking for it, right? I'm going to post the link right now for you. You can check it out. And I've got some extra bonuses here for you too. But let me talk first about what you're going to get when you sign up for the Wall Street AO platform. You're going to get unlimited strategy notifications emailed daily. Here's what that means. When you come here to the platform and you backtest something just like the strategy I just gave you, and you click on follow, our system recognizes this and will now send you an email every time this strategy starts and stops. And every time you follow a strategy, we organize it for you under the scan tab, under my strategies. Everything that you ever follow will show up right here for you in a beautiful table. Okay. You're going to get unlimited charting and backtesting on 8,000 plus tickers. SPY, Qs, IWM, Amex, NYSE, NASDAQ, pretty much all the tickers, okay? Unlimited strategy scanning using our Discover feature. This is really cool and one of the things that kind of makes us unique. For a lot of people, they love to geek out like me. They're like sipping on their coffee in the morning on their deck, eating cereal, and they have this idea. That's actually how I came up with this idea, by the way. And I ran to my computer and I backtested, and sure enough, it was like a golden goose for me, right? Now, some people don't want to mess around with the backtester. They're like, you know what? That's not how my brain works. Can't think of things to backtest. Just show me what's great. And so we were really smart in the way that we built this, right? Every time one of our community members, and we literally have like the biggest group, right? Every time one of our really smart community members backtests anything here, if it's a good strategy, we push it through a 10-factor rating system, right? And if it's a good strategy, we make it available to the entire community via the Discover feature, right? So we call it crowdsourcing strategies. So again, for some people, they're like, I want to backtest, I got all these ideas. For other people, we want to let them piggyback on all the great work that our community is doing by crowdsourcing strategies. And then you could actually rate it and sort it by the rating. And you can sort it by a popular one is, what's starting today with an A+ rating? Boom. Right here with the filter, okay? And so unlimited ability to scan and discover. Access to daily live coaching via group webinar. I'm live for an hour every Monday for an hour at 2 p.m. Eastern time, plus recordings, okay? Live one-on-one chat support. You have questions, no problem. There's a bunch of things that you can do. First one, click on this question mark icon. You can click on contact us. It's gonna pop up a one-on-one chat with our team. We also have a beautiful knowledge base. I know a lot of people ask about questions, things like that. We've got a whole detailed knowledge base about backtesting stocks, backtesting options, how everything works, how the strategy templates work, with easy arrows, like explaining exactly how things work. Pretty cool stuff, right? All right, let's see where we're at. Questions about that so far? Wall Street AO / TradeThirsty, you're going to get the special coupon. I'll show you how that works here in a moment. And again, here's the cool part. When options comes out of beta, right? Because right now we're in beta. When we come out of beta, we're going to be charging a lot more for options backtesting, because it just doesn't make sense for us to give it away for $100 for like options backtesting. It really is like its own standalone thing. Now, when you sign up today, you're going to get options included for free in beta and the next version. We're not going to raise the price on you. So a huge bonus for you this weekend is you're going to get the whole Wall Street platform grandfathered in for a $100 off coupon. It's $97 ongoingly, and you're going to get options backtesting, right, which is open and available right now. You sign up today, you'll be able to backtest with our beta version now. And when we move out of beta, you'll still get that included. We're not charging you more for it. But for everybody who signs up, once beta's out and we're in full version, they're going to have to pay a lot more for the options backtesting feature, a lot more. And so this is going to save you hundreds of dollars throughout the year by signing up now, because you're going to get options included for free, options backtesting, which is kind of cool. Okay. We've got a bunch of questions coming in. We're going to take those in just a minute. Quick highlight from our membership. Hey, Mike, it's Matt Webb. I want to thank you so much for providing an amazing platform for us. Since joining Wall Street, I've tripled my options account, and been constantly learning so much. Again, thank you. Now, a lot of people may ask, what am I most proud of here? And they would assume that it's because they tripled their options account, but here's what I'm really proud of. They've been constantly learning so much. Again, they've been constantly learning. And as I mentioned, we were a social forum before we had all these great tools. We built the tools to educate, because knowing that in the money works differently than out of the money, and here's what you could expect with a vertical spreader, here's what you could expect when you sell a put and buy a call, knowing that and having the information is actually what's gonna be what has you become a more profitable trader, having the knowledge and information. So all of our tools are designed and built to educate. Does that make sense? So what I'm most proud about here is that they've been constantly learning so much. And here's what the pros are saying about what we've done. What you and your team has built is pretty incredible. We began using it as a company, and since our membership, we haven't been able to put it down. They're trading $200 million in managed assets and now using Wall Street to validate their ideas. It's so cool. So here's everything you're going to get when you sign up. I've got a bunch of questions come in, so I'm going to take a minute and kind of answer those. But again, I'll post the link up. We got it here, wallstreet.io/TradeThirsty. In fact, let me go ahead and just bring up what that page looks like for everybody, okay? Let's go ahead and do that here. So when you click the link, this is the page that you should come to. Special offer, right? $97, that's all we're going to ask for membership. That includes the discount for the lifetime of your membership of $100 off. It's only $97 a month. All plans automatically renew, but you could cancel anytime. There's no contracts. You're going to get all this great stuff that we include here in our platform. Name, email, phone number, create your own username, create your own password. We don't generate passwords for you. Put your billing information in and you go immediately in. Okay, pretty cool stuff, right? Let's take some questions. I know we got some great questions here. John says, I was about to ask and I just got my question answered. Awesome. Jake says, can the backtester do something like on a certain buy signal, buy the one out of the money closest to the 30-day option, and then have some sort of sell signal for getting out? Yeah, absolutely. So the sell signal for getting out right now is tied to your strategy. So right now what it's going to do is, like, let's say you want to buy one strike out of the money 30 days out. This is going to have you sell either on the 7th day or on the 7th green day or on the 1st red day. That's how it'll work. But as I mentioned, because we're in beta, we're still building, like aggressively building the feature set. An advanced feature set that's coming is advanced sell conditions and exit conditions. Like, instead of using these exit conditions, sell when it hits 100% profitability or something like that. Backtesting is all done on daily candles right now. Dave says, the backtester showed me how some of my strategies currently are not that great. But you know what? That might be disappointing for about 4 seconds, but here's the deal. This platform, as far as a validation platform, remember, designed to educate, has 2 functions. 1, we want to find great strategies, but 2, we want to debunk strategies that don't work, because you have no idea how often people come to me and they're like, hey, Mike, I just read on this forum, or even worse, I just paid all this money for this course, and they teach me this strategy, and then we load it up in the backtester and it doesn't actually work that great. Like, nothing's more disappointing than that. However, it's better to find out that the strategy that you're thinking of doesn't work before you put money to work, right? But hey, now you have a strategy that does work. I just gave it to you. Use this one, right? Neil, maybe you're perhaps a member in the past. What I'm going to have you do is email support@wallstreet.io and we'll get you set up. Okay. John, yep, no contracts. Is there training? Absolutely. We have a bunch of really cool training in our university and a whole knowledge base with documentation. Okay. And we've got some really cool offers for you for some advanced training. I would recommend grabbing the Payday Cycle course, which will be offered right when you sign up. The buy on the first screen. Is that day 1 of the day's exit or 7 more days? Yeah, Richard, great question. I like to think of it as selling in a range. And as I mentioned, when you change this day 7, 8, and 9 all worked great. So sell in that range. That's what I would say. Jake, the Payday Cycle Masterclass in our thing will answer the questions about the Heikin-Ashi. Alex says, what indicators can you use? So we can currently backtest ADX, DMI, moving average, MACD, moving average cross, Payday Cycle, RSI, stochastics, and stochastics threshold. And just to give you an example of how flexible this is, for something like a moving average, above or below moving average, and you can do simple exponential or DEMA. Very, very flexible. Wow, lots of good questions here. Do you teach newbies how to backtest? Yes. I'm live for an hour every Monday. It's recorded, and every Tuesday we have a platform Q&A. We've also got great documentation and a great community to teach you for this, for sure. Yep, this will work for backtesting. Right now, overlays earnings. We're working on a hold for earnings feature, though. John says thank you. All right, we've got a few more minutes left. I'm going to answer these questions as they come up. 2 quick things. If you just signed up, let me know. I'd love to highlight you and welcome you to the group. Number 2, what's been the biggest highlight for you today? What is something that you learned that you're like mind blown that you want to share with me? 1, I'd love to congratulate and high five you for learning that. 2, it helps me as a presenter knowing what made the biggest impact for you, because that's what I'm all about here today. Okay. Alex says, is it end of day data or live? It's live. Are Apple covered calls advisable in certain times? Sure, that could work. Opposite, taking the first sell. Yeah, Richard, you could actually use, you can actually switch this up and test short. And essentially what our platform does, instead of buying to open, it switches it to sell to open. Okay, you can test short strategies as well. Scott, if you create an awesome strategy, everything is automatically shared via our Discover feature. That's how we roll. Our whole platform is designed to be community. I don't believe that if you find a great strategy, if there's too many people using it, while our community is big, it's not that big. And if you create like a gold gem strategy that you don't want people to see, we could work something out. We don't have the functionality to hide it yet, but I'm sure we could work something out for you. Like if you're like, hey man, I managed a $4 billion fund. I want to develop strategies and I don't want people to see them. Like we could probably work something out for you, okay? Chris says, to confirm backtesting on Heikin-Ashi or regular candles. All of our backtesting is always routed to candlestick pricing. We're simply using the Heikin-Ashi as a signal for that day. Cool? Wow, lots of questions. Holy cow. Someone says, what's the success rate? We have it right here. I had it here for you. So this is the strategy that I've been using and teaching for like years, right? There you go. I'll leave the stats open for you. Dave says, joining is a no-brainer. Love it, Dave. Love it. Welcome to the group, buddy. Daniel says, biggest highlight was trading a handful of stocks rather than being a generalist. Love that. Alex says, I was impressed with the speed of the backtester. Thank you. You have no idea how much time that took us to build a database, with 2 billion endpoints of options backtesting, historical data, strike prices, expirations for every day, and allow it to be instantly backtestable. Like, that's a feat. And you know what? Even the SIBO said it couldn't be done, and we did it. We're so proud of it. We're so proud of it. Okay. Can you do moving average crossover? Absolutely can, Jake. We can do moving average crossover. Simple exponential and DEMA. Let's see. How do you determine different parameters for each stock? You could use our scan feature here and discover for the stock you're on. You could also just kind of tinker with our backtester. Gosh, lots of stuff. We currently don't have futures or forex, Jake. Sorry about that, buddy. We'll be adding those later. John, you should be able to just buy a 1-month membership. I'm going to put you, if you're seeing an annual membership, I'm going to put you, I'm going to send you a link to our email. Email us. It could be that you're a member in the past, and that's why it's doing that. Bruce, I'm going to say the same thing. Bruce was a member in the past, wants to sign up again. Bruce, email support@wallstreet.io, and we'll take care of you, Bruce. Love it. Strategy, does it work on the SPY? Absolutely can. You can test the SPY on all of this stuff. Still awesome, Bruce. Cool stuff. Hey, I'm going to put this link up for you one more time. WallStreetIO/TradeThirsty. What you're going to get is the WallStreetIO platform. Instead of $197, right? You're going to get it for only $97. You get grandfathered in. There's no contracts. A couple other questions. How much is data? Data is included. I pay the data for you. How do you download it? The cool thing is our platform is a web app, so you access it via browser. It works on a Mac or a PC. You don't have to download anything, which is great because you can access it from anywhere. I've got an iPad Pro, works beautifully on the iPad Pro, but I also have my desktop. But yeah, you don't have to download it. It's a web app. I strongly encourage you to use Chrome browser. Our platform is made snappy fast. We're like leading edge. We're years ahead of a lot of the competition. And Chrome is the best browser for super snappy progressive web apps. So I encourage you to use Chrome. It'll give you the best performance. Okay. Yes, exactly. You could use that for trading for payday cycles. All right, Marion, previous member coming back. Love this. This is cool. Support@WallStreet.io. Email us and we'll set you up. All right, we just have a few minutes left. Patricia says, I'm so impressed with the information packed in this 1-hour time frame. Awesome, thank you. Patricia, you're my hero. Thank you for saying that. I put a lot of time into putting this together for you. And if you probably noticed, I literally gave you my best strategy, by the way, which is the Apple Payday Cycle 21-day moving average, and then told you what the best option strategy to use with it. So I handed it over to you. But you know what? I hope that you see enough value here in this amazing community that I built and this incredible backtester for stock and option trading that you're going to go ahead and sign up. We'd love to have you part of our community. And as we continually develop this platform, you get all these great updates. And I did mention, hopefully, that when you find a good strategy, you're going to be able to click follow, and then our system sends you start and stop notifications for that strategy, right? Pretty cool stuff. And that comes out 1 hour before the market closes. Incredible capacity, says Tim, I just purchased. Thank you, Tim. Welcome to the group, buddy. One thing that you can do is you click on this little arrow, load up our live chat room, and just introduce yourself if you want. This, by the way, this chat stuff is just from today so far, and it's a soft day. We have a crazy active group. And here's the other cool thing is everybody's so friendly. Like, we've done the best job that we can to make sure our group is really, really friendly and helpful. And so I think everybody here will fit right in. Pretty cool stuff. The deadline for the sign up is Sunday at midnight, but I would go ahead and sign up now if you can so you don't forget and miss out. We're in the Cape. Love it. All right, Daniel says the best advice was to be a specialist on a handful of stocks rather than a generalist. I love that. All right, I think that's pretty much a wrap, and I think my time is coming to an end. So we got this link up here for you. Come and join our group. We look forward to having you here. What else? What other questions we got? I think I got like maybe a minute or two left. Bum, bum, bum. So a couple cool bonuses you get when you sign up. We've got some really cool education for you. We put out this really incredible series called Trading with Indicator series that covers the MACD, stochastics, RSI, Heikin-Ashi. This is a really cool place to start. In fact, for everybody who just signed up, I'm going to go ahead and post this link in here. And so everybody's going to get this link. If you didn't sign up and you're not a member and you try and click the link, like, you won't get in, obviously, because it's protected. But let me just give you a quick skinny on this. They're super high-end. Whoa, that's really loud. They're super high-end videos that walk you through all the indicators and everything like that on Wall Street AO. So if you're looking for, somebody said, I'm a newbie, like, this training is crazy high-end, and it'll get you up to speed in how the indicators work, both how to apply them and like how they actually work mathematically, which I think you'll really like. What if I want to trade just the top 3 systems? Yeah, go to the scan tab, get it done. One other cool resource I'm going to give you real quick, is we've got this really great member case study that I think you'd like. It's an hour long. And so with this guy named David, I'm going to post this link up here too. Again, if you're not a member, this link won't do you any good. But I'll post it here for everybody who just signed up. David grew his account by 20% in 5 weeks. And basically, you know what he did? This is all he did. It was so simple. Here's his 1 hour success story down in 20 seconds. He came over here to the scan tab. He loaded up a filter set, basically, which was starting today and A-rated. He went through and basically just traded the strategies in our Discover scanner that had great ratings and were starting today. And that's all he did. And it was that simple. And he crushed. He's still crushing. But yeah, we put together a whole 1 hour case study. You could find it in the university at the bottom, called Member Success Stories. We're adding more stuff to this. You can click that. That's available for you as well. You know, that's a good way for you to learn how other people are using our platform too, by the way. Pretty cool stuff, eh? Let's see. Scott working on the dividend thing. All right. All right. Welcome everybody who just signed up, by the way. Looking forward to hanging out with you on Monday for my personal meetup. To get access there, you'll click on this little TV icon. These are all of our meetups throughout the week that you get access to for free. And I think we're pretty much wrapped up here.
Well, thank you, Micah. This was awesome.
Yeah.
I love the way you took them back in there.